Hello and welcome to a Nerf versus series on the channel. My name is Luke Triton and today we are covering stick magazines versus drum magazines. You're going to hear the word magazine thrown around a lot in this video. I'm already out of breath just by going through the intro, but this is something I want to clear up. I prefer drum magazines to the stick mags, and I feel like this is a good way of explaining why. There are pros and cons to each, and hopefully through this video there's a good way of explaining them for both of these, but ultimately why I prefer drums. But we'll put that to the side and start off with the stick mags. These are available from 6 darts all the way up to 18 darts, which is what I'm currently holding here. This one in particular is from the Zombie Strike Revoltinator, so you can see a nice special Zombie Strike themed skin on the magazine, which is its own advantage. Most other magazines from various lines like Modulus and Elite in particular have this sort of plain top section that carries on down here where it looks tactical, looks normal, but in a way it's a bit bland. When you have Zombie Strike and Doomlands in particular, there's all these other bits added to the magazine itself. It's not too much, in terms of effectiveness, but at the same time it's just something nice to look at. I mean, why not? It's a little extra something, you may as well go ahead with it. Remember, it's a toy, you may as well make it look nice and fancy. But one thing in particular when it comes to the 18 dart stick mag, this is the one that is probably the most popular magazine amongst Nerfers. There is a company out there called Worker who has made a 22 dart magazine, which is slightly longer and has a curve to it. It's like a banana magazine. But the whole point of these stick mags is that mainly when you go around in your Nerf war, you can have 2 or 3 of these in the same pouch and have about a total of maybe 15 all around your body ready for the Nerf war. That is really good when it comes to reloading. When you have your blaster, you have your magazine inserter, you go around having your fun. You run out, just take it out, put it in a pouch, swap out for another one. It's nice and flat so you can have those 2 or 3 stacked up ready to go, and therefore you can carry more. That's one of the best advantages of something like this. It's really good and it's something that is surprisingly common. However, when it comes to the stick magazines, they are smaller in capacity to the drums. There is an 18 dart drum magazine that exists, which came out with the original Alpha Trooper back in 2010, but that has a big feeding issue and nobody basically cares about that existence. I mean, you may as well have an 18 dart stick mag instead of an 18 dart drum. It's easier to carry, just why not? But 18 is the limit, unless you go to 22 with Worker. If you're going to stick with vanilla Nerf, that's as big as it's getting. So with the drums, again, there is an 18 dart drum, so pick your poison, you have your preference. But they are bigger in capacity, which is probably the key point of using a drum. This is better for flywheel blasters in particular. It doesn't matter whether it's full auto or semi-auto. Having a drum magazine is better because you can have less control of the fire rate. It's so tempting to just hold down the rev trigger and blast through the entire capacity of the drum magazine in a matter of seconds. I've done it so many times, I get to the point where I want to reload, it's like, oh, I've got to reload now because I know how quickly I can fire those darts off. But, just to compare the two, this is 18 darts, this is 25 darts. This holds a total of 7 more. You can technically squeeze in a 26 dart, so long as you don't mind the dart getting just a little bit squished, but even then that's not too much of a problem. So officially 25 darts, that's just a start. The Infamous in 2018, was it 2018? Yeah, I think so. That came out with a dart drum that had 30 darts. That too, like this one, has a symmetric look to it, which is something that is really good. The feeding is so much nicer in comparison to the 35 dart drum that came up with the Raider in 2009. The Raider drum has 35 darts but is mounted sideways, so the drum, instead of it being like this in the center, it was higher up here. And it feeds better for side-fed blasters. So whilst you may suffer a few feeding issues, that's 35 darts ready to go in one magazine. That is amazing. And in case you thought it didn't get better, the Nerf minigun, the Titan CS50 that came out last year, has a 50 dart drum. At long last we have one. So 50 darts in one magazine ready to go. Literally double the capacity of this. It's unbelievably cool. I personally have yet to own one, which is a shame because I would love to be able to show one off here. But, you get what I'm trying to say. The bigger capacity is ultimately better. But that is balanced by how you're going to store them. I suppose it technically is possible to have massive pouches and sit your drums like this. But I think that's only viable with this size magazine in particular. The 25 dart drum is the most common drum magazine. It's most notably sold with other blasters. You see, there's a new reskin of the Rampage that came out. That's probably, I think that's got one of these. Or at least a past version, one of the original versions of the Rampage did have one of these. The Rhino Fire had some of these. I bought an AccuTrooper recently. That has one of these. The AccuTrooper version, the AccuStrike version of the Rapid Strike has one of these. You're starting to see this drum appear more often. And drum magazines, I think, are getting more popular because of it. People are still picking up the blasters, they're preferring the drums. Maybe the drums are starting to raise in popularity, but I don't think they'll be taking over the stick mag's popularity anytime soon. So, that's the kind of the only pro and con when it comes to choosing which magazine you want to use. You have your storage in the magazine itself compared to storage on your person. Now, I'm someone who is careful in a Nerf war. I know I tend to use flywheel blasters more than springers, and therefore I will go for a drum mag. But I, for one, like to believe that I'm careful with how I fire the blaster. So drum magazines is what I go for. I would love to be able to make some crazy setup where I have like a bunch of drum mags on my person. I currently don't have that. But one day I would love to be this massive sort of hulking thing where I've got my arms like this, something stupid. But I've got 12 of these just dotted around my body. I would love to be that kind of person. So yeah, it's just my own preference, having more in the magazine ready to go. And just going off into a Nerf war knowing that I've got them ready instead of having to switch out to it later on is just my preference. I don't mind not having any on my body, and I'm definitely not opposed to sticking religiously to drum magazines. I don't mind having a few stick mags so long as I got somewhere to store my original one that's in my blaster to start off with. So, yeah, that was a bit of an awkward video. Hopefully that all made sense. That was nice to get this off my chest as well. I just prefer drum mags because the overall capacity is better and they just look cooler. It's a big old drum, I mean, come on. So, there we go. Thank you all ever so much for watching. If you have any questions, put them down in the comment section below. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you all in the next episode. Bye.